All right, thanks for tuning in. This episode is going to be about being an NCPD officer. This is something that is sort of just a house rule, not necessarily something that is built in specifically for Cyberpunk 2077, but I would like to see something like this. So here I've got V dressed out in somewhat of an NCPD officer's uniform. I know I don't have the exact NCPD officer. I haven't collected every bit of gear that you can have in the game. Maybe out there's a complete set. I haven't found it yet, but I did come across an NCPD police car, the one without the grill on the front. There are some NCPD police cars that have this grill on the front window that you can't see if you're in first person view. But I do play every once in a while in the third person view just to be able to drive some vehicles, and that's a different video altogether. So if we go into my inventory here, you can kind of see a little bit of what V likes. It's kind of dressed up like. I have a regular Kenshin pistol. I'm sorry, the Nue pistol equipped. And this is pretty much what V looks like. So there you go for that. Now, what I'm primarily focused on here is these specific types of NCPD missions. So right now, V can do these missions right away. But in Cyberpunk, why is V, as a merc, wanting to help out the police at all? Now, that could just be an RPG element. Player wants to have their V be a helper of the NCPD. But I would say all these icons that are populating the map should not be necessarily, and I know they have these temporary merc missions to where the NCPD, we'll call it the NCPD fixer, comes over the radio and says all temp mercs, or I forget what she calls them. We'll kind of see what it looks like whenever we jump into this mission real quick. But I think these particular icons should only pop up if you have possession of an NCPD police vehicle. Now, so let's just get into one of them and kind of see what that would look like. So we jump into the vehicle, kind of see how we can see out the front, which some of the NCPD police officers have that grill that you can't really see. So like, what's the point of having the grill on there? And you'd have to kind of force yourself to get out there. All right, so I've already marked an organized crime activity over here, and you know, it'd be cool if that came up while you're inside the vehicle, and then they just they come over the radio and they contact you and they say you need to get over here in a specific amount of time, and it's just a random thing that pops up that are already populated. They don't show them, they just sort of throw something up there. You throw on your sirens and start your way there. And then this would be a particular mission right here. Kind of pull up here. All right, you've arrived. You jump out, and this mission would only show up because you have, like, and see how she jumps in? This dispatcher.
Attention all NCPD subcons.
Subcons.
Organized crime activity reported on Martin Street. Maelstrom has established a presence in the area. Kaiser Herzog, aka the Surgeon, spotted. Priors include practicing as a Ripper Doc without a license and first-degree murder, for which he has been sentenced to death. City authorities are offering a reward for the removal of Herzog and Maelstrom from the area.
All right, and then you would go into this particular mission because, you know, you're a subcontract, so, but there's not really a, there should be some of the fixers, and that's already sort of a thing, like Fixer Deshawn, you get that, Dexter Deshawn, you get that sort of intro, then you got sort of an intro for Rogue as a fixer. But all the other fixers and even the NCPD dispatcher should be introduced fully, like Dexter Deshawn and Rogue are introduced to the player. And this should also be one. The NCPD dispatcher, that should be something that you go over, you start, you have a deal with her, you say, hey, I'm only going to give you, the only way I'm going to be able to contact you is if you pull up, you grab one of the NCPD police officers' cars. Or you just get one assigned to you, and then this is a specific car that you can call, and it looks a little bit different for V, and maybe sort of it's just It's just specific to V, and it's an agreement that you have with the dispatcher. And then the only way that these specific icons will show up is if you're inside that NCPD police officer's vehicle, right? And then all these things that you could see on the map that are related to reported crimes, NCPD, the assault in progresses, and then the suspected organized crime activities only show up when you're in that vehicle. Or while you're in the vehicle, you drive around, and when you get close to one of them, then she comes over the radio and says, hey, this is all subcons, which would be you, and then that throws you up a pin, and then you go to that particular mission. I think that would be an excellent way to incorporate the NCPD specific missions and make players' desire to use the NCPD police officer a little bit more, because otherwise there's no real need to have the NCPD police officer, because there are no specific missions that require a NCPD police vehicle. I mean, even just you see this sort of you see some stuff going on over here. You pull up,
come here, you,
stop,
you, join my
throw on
raid.
your sirens, and then they react to it. It's like, oh, we probably shouldn't be here, and then they walk away. But right now they don't care that I'm here. It's like, hey, warning, get out of here. Let's go over and see if we can find something else and bother some NPCs, or that you should be able to bother some NPCs. There's usually ravers, like those groups that play music. And you can come up on, there should be a group right over here. Yeah. Alright, so you got this music group over here. You know what? You you playing the NCPD officer that you want to be, you roll up on this group here, playing their loud music. Hey, I got some reports of loud music over by Tom's Diner. And then you roll up. All the NCPDs are kind of standing there dancing. Turn on your sirens, and they all look over. That would be pretty cool. First they look over. It's like, oh crap, and then they slowly walk away, or they disperse. And just give them the same sort of reaction that they would give to V if V pulled out a gun and pointed at them. They'd all sort of, not duck down and stay in place and cower, but disperse. All right, it's like, all right, I've done my job. And this is just sort of like a little metagame that players could do, and it would be built into the world and give sort of that role play feeling to it. And then maybe when you complete all these missions, that specific job, because you decided to be an NCPD officer for a day, or you continue your subcon. All right, and then a couple of other things. You know how they had the wanted system, and right now there is sort of a wanted system. It just doesn't work all that great. So I would say players could drive around, and they come up on an area like this. And this is a pretty compact or a very dense encounter. So this could be just the player rolling up on this. All right, so there's definitely something here, and maybe, just maybe, if you're a subcon, you can call in a group of NCPD officers to help in this particular encounter. But so we got a particular bad guy, and you go to the data, and you can see how the bounty class is 1 star. So let's say that there were smaller groups, or that specific bounty was standing by themselves. You could, as an NCPD officer, roll up next to them, turn on your sirens and your lights, and then they just sort of, they know they're bad guys, or sort of while you're in your vehicle, you kind of hold here, and you can scan individual. Let's see if we can do it this way.
Shit on this stuff.
Alright, so you're sitting in your vehicle, and while you're sitting in your vehicle, you scan individuals. Alright, so he's got a 1 star. He's got a 1 star. Let's jump over here to somebody else. Still a 1 star. And just like this could be a way to roll around Night City as a NCPD officer, check and see, they're all 1 stars. I'm not really too concerned about them. And then just kind of be on your way. But if they were like a 2 or 3 star, then you might want to utilize the car or call in backup, and they come in and they help, and you just get out of the car, you roll up on somebody. It's like, let's just say this guy had a 2 star. All right, you point a gun on him, and by pointing a gun on him, and you're doing a dispatch mission. All right, put your hands up. All right, and then he surrenders, and you know, a little icon or, you know, a dialogue option comes back up and says, put up your hands. Or if you want to be a bad Ncpd subcon, you take them out, or you shock them, or you use your particular quick hack of choice, and you put them into a, you know, you shock them, and then they go down, and then you pick them up, and then or you walk over and you grab the back of their arm, and then you could just like you would choking them, you would just hold them, you know, by their hands behind their back, and then lead them over here, and then just like you would dump them into a container, like whenever you incapacitate somebody, you pick them up. But you would come over here, and in the back of the vehicle, it would have a little prompt, and it would say, not dump, but secure, maybe, and then they're in the back of the vehicle. Then you can put them into the car because they're a high bounty, and then you have to take them back to the Ncpd police stop or drop off. Like, wouldn't that be extremely cool if you could do that? I think it would. Just imagine, because every NPC in the game can be randomly given, or at least the gang member, the ones that are affiliated with specific gangs, are going to be given bounties. Like, that would be endless, and you would earn an amount of eddies that way. You about to come up and steal my car? That's another thing. That's completely other video. Is if you have a particularly high value car and you sit idle. Let's say I drove up here. Sorry, this is a little side thing. You drive up here and you're just sitting idle. Let's say in an expensive car. And then you're just sitting here idle, and then maybe they just like they do the police, they just spawn behind me, right? I'm sitting here idle, I'm not doing anything. Let's say that I completely spin the camera, right? And I'm keeping an eye on my 6 so it won't spawn them. But if I'm just kind of sitting here not doing anything, an NPC kind of gets spawned, and then they walk in from the right or walk in from the left and then try to steal your vehicle. Or if you get out of your vehicle and you go and do something and you leave your vehicle there for too long, they come up, and then you come back, and maybe they're leaning up against your vehicle, or they're peeking inside and around, and then you walk up to them, and then they challenge you for your vehicle, or they steal your vehicle. That's a completely different thing, and then you have to go back and get your vehicle. Oh man, there's so many different things that a ton of people have ideas. I know a lot of players do, but this police particularly has been kind of on my mind, and I've just been doing this sort of acting like I'm a police officer. It's like, hey, roll up on this NPC right here. It's like, what is he walking over here? All right. Or the Ncpd dispatcher comes over and then puts a tag on a random NPC in the world, and then, all right, you got to come over here, and based on their stars, get out of the vehicle. It's like, and then you get out of the vehicle and you're close or within proximity, and then you can just call back to the dispatcher and say to the dispatcher, I've located the mark, and then you come up on the individual. It's like, put your hands up.
Don't do this!
Right, and then it gives you a prompt. You set, you know, turn around, and then they put your hands behind your back, and then they put hands behind your back. You push the triangle button to secure them or take into custody, and then you just move them around just like you would if you were carrying them, and then take them over, just like I was saying before. Wouldn't that be cool? You're going to get away. No, you're not. I'm going to run over here. I said, don't walk away. Hey. You listening to me? Now you run away. Alright, well, anyway. Obviously you can't do that, but man, would that be cool. Man, would that be cool. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching up to this point. I've got a ton of ideas. I'm going to try to make more videos about those ideas. And then maybe CD Projekt Red will be listening. Or maybe PC modders will mod it into the game. They've already modded a bunch of other things, but I'm playing on a PlayStation 4 Pro. Haven't been able to get a hold of a PlayStation 5 yet. Maybe one of these days. Thanks, scalpers.